All right, welcome to another video from the chart readers. We are going to review the major markets today. We're going to look at the actual indices. You see the NASDAQ right here, and then we'll look at their equivalent ETFs. So we'll look at the NASDAQ, Dow Jones, SP 500, and then the Russell 2000. So obviously a lot going on, but before we get into it, let's just review real quick, right? What are we going to do? We're going to look at the daily and the weekly. We'll probably look at the monthly. I feel like I always forget to look at it, but we will look at the monthly this time. We will use our 5 moving averages, the horizontal support and resistance lines that I do manually draw myself, and then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Again, 80% of the work is up here. This is the last 20%, just kind of that confirmation as needed, right? But it really is all about the moving averages and the horizontal support and resistance lines, and that is what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit, right? So it doesn't, yeah, right here you can start to see it. There is a lot of horizontal trading happening, right? First, it's horizontal on the actual death line itself, right? This red one, this has been the red death line for a very long time, right? It starts to make a move up, it being the NASDAQ, obviously, right? But you can see the 8 moves up and we start to basically go horizontal above the 50 moving average. So I realize that they're both the same red color, but again, the one that moves, that's computer generated, and I don't know the math behind it, but whatever, that's not what we're here for, right? That one's 50. This line is just horizontal and will never move from this 10,844 11 cent, right? So again, we go horizontal here, make a nice move here, go horizontal. And again, when we're in this, what's happening? 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the 5 moving averages, this is a horizontal cluster, right? And it literally hits the top, hits the bottom, hits the top, hits the bottom, hits the top, hits and then loses the bottom, right? And obviously, if you've seen enough of my videos, it doesn't matter if we're talking about a penny stock or this $11,000 major indice, right? When you're in a horizontal support, you either break up and fly or you fall down and die, right? It's one of the two. That was a rhyme that I made on another video. I'm trying to keep that. But and look, it's had moments where it wanted to fall, went back, wanted to fall, went right. Again, I kind of did all that, right? But once it loses it, it's real bad. Look, we're under the death line here. I've said it. We need them all to be under it, because I don't care if there's only 1 or 2, right? And if all 3 are under it, it's also about all 3 of them confirming, right? Because we've seen the inverse of this, right? We've seen where almost all of them were above the 200, but there was that one straggler that wasn't, right? This one is essentially the Dow Jones's opposite, right? Dow Jones was well over the 200, was waiting for the rest. NASDAQ's been down here before, right? We've been under the death line here. We got super low right here. I know there was another one. Yeah, this was one of the first ones that was real scary actually in June, but this is not new place for us. We've been under the death line. The real question is, will the others follow? I'll say this, I don't like how devastating the 8 is dropping, and it looks like the 20 is following. Again, we've seen that on so many individual stocks. It's no different here, right? We might get to a place where it's going to become really hard to break the 8 and the 20. And if that happens, that could get real ugly, right? Because again, I'm going to show it here. This break of the death line here, it wasn't a new one, right? It was definitely a clear already loser, and then it kind of starts horizontaling, right? This is an initial loss point, right? This was after a hard fall kind of save point. And even this first one, again, there was no initial movement, right? Again, I hope I'm describing it well, but you can see it looks like it's about to start going down with both of them, as opposed to they've both been, and when I say both, it's the 8 and the 20, they've both been going down for a while, right? So this has me a lot more worried, because again, we've seen it, you literally see it right here, right? That point where the 8 and the 20 just both go down together real hard, and breaking one becomes very difficult, let alone the other one, right? So we might be setting up this like month and a half, almost 2 month thing right here, right? So that could be really dangerous going into the beginning of the year. And remember, next week is a short week, right? So as I move to the weekly, we're not going to get 5 days. Look at this again. Do you see all the death crosses happening? So all I'm starting to see is just this like turning shift down, right? And that's not a good thing. We want the 20 to break above these, not to go below it. That's a death cross right there, right? That is not good. We want it to break above it. Yeah, week after week after week bad. We've been 3 weeks under the weekly. This does not look very good. And I'll be honest with you, this RSI, we've seen RSIs get as low as single digits, right? We've obviously seen get as high as in the 90s. I know we've seen a couple, but this is just the calm of the storm. If this thing starts to head down, that could be really bad if it brings momentum. There's a lot of reason to be very bearish on, man, okay, as I said it, I had to stop. Look, this 50, I've been tracking the break of the 50 for a long time. Look, I have to zoom all the way back to 2010, okay? The last time we were remotely under was 2010, right? So the fact that it's been 12 years since we have been over this is important, right? We lost it here. We were definitely below it for a couple month window, right? So this is September, this is October. In November, we at least got back over it. But again, just like we see on so many stocks, the 8 is really hard to get over. And the monthly takes a long time to develop, right? So we've just lost the 8 pretty definitively. We've now looks like lost the 20 pretty definitively. And we actually lost this, right? We're now below the last monthly point, and it really seems like this 10,000, almost 10,000 to the dot number is coming up next. So a lot to be worried about on the monthly, because again, one more time, right? I hope I don't have to show it again. This red line, we've been over it for 12 years. The simple question becomes, what happens when we lose it? My answer is we drop to the next line down. It's this blue line, which is around 8,000, right? What is it exactly at? It's at 8,400, almost to the penny, right? 84 and 3. So there is a genuine reason to believe we're headed to a 20% loss from where we're sitting, okay? The last thing I want to ask is, are we going to lose the 100? Okay, because if we lose the 100, then we're coming here. For now, we're only going to worry about the 50 and the 100. Okay, let's hopefully not go here. Okay, because that's going to bring us almost into a 50% drop, right? And look, really ugly MACD. This thing was in the high positives. We're now back in the negatives, right? You see that, right? So this thing was in the 1,000 plus. This thing is now negative. Okay, again, this thing's going down. It looks like this thing is ready to go even steeper down while the red stays up. And again, I know 26 seems low, right? Because I always say it's between 80 and 30, give or take. We've seen it get real low. We've seen it get single digit low, right? So the last thing you want to ask is how worse can it get? And I'm telling you, if this 50 is lost, okay, there's only a couple days left. Like, you can pretty much say this month is over, unless we get a massive rally and we fly up to 11, right? If you look in the box right there, average 50 is 1100. If we've pretty much lost it, right? I would at least say, let me stop that. If we can at least get over this, get over 10, and if you remember, I've been talking about 10.7 for a while. If we can get over 10.7, that'd be nice. But yeah, oh no, I haven't. I was talking about 11.7. Sorry, no. Yeah, 10.7 is the number we got to get over, okay? Otherwise, like I said, there's a lot of reason to believe we're coming down to 8,500, okay? Very bad. I've spent a lot longer than I expected on the NASDAQ, but yeah, there's a lot of reason to believe it's not good. QQQ, which is the ETF equivalent, should look exactly the same. Look at that, right? I'm not even zooming out, not even zooming in. That's QQQ. That's NASDAQ. It looks like a very mirrored image, right? You can just see it losing it, right? Coming to the weekly. Oh man, we've definitely lost the 200. We're about to see another death cross right here where the 8 goes under the 200 again. We want him to go over it, right? We want him to break up golden cross, not go under death cross, right? Horrible stuff. Look, the last, oh, what is this, 6 weeks? The last 6 weeks have been substantially lower than the 50-day average. That's not good. This is the ticker. People put $200 a week for their kid, in their when they're 18, it's worth $1 million, right? That's what this is supposed to be. And again, that's not for a fake reason, right? I'm going to just zoom out real quick. On the monthly, you can see it. Since back here, since '09, if you were just putting in some money for your kid, right? Obviously, I was a kid, so I wasn't doing this shit, right? But yeah, that's what this is supposed to be. People literally buy this blindly. And now they've stopped, right? There was a nice little uptrend, and then boom, you can see a big drop in the month, right? And that's not good because, again, as these weeks get lower, you're going to start to see the curve come down, right? And volume is king. You know that. The last thing you want to go from a 250 million down to like what, 175 million. I know it still sounds like a lot, but that's a big drop, right? And I'm telling you, it can happen easily. But look, cluster, 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 drop. This is the weekly. That's bad, right? You've already lost it on the daily, right? Cluster, 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 drop. Exact same words from the NASDAQ. So yeah, real scary here, actually. So let's move to the SP-500, okay? And what are we looking at? So again, remember, SP-500 was testing the 200, right? This is back when the Dow Jones was well up here and, we were hoping that this was going to catch up. It never quite got over it. Obviously broke over here once, right? But I don't care about a single day, right? We need confirmation to sustain. Definitely not good confirmation and, the rest right here, right? And look, 1, 2, 3, 4, literally all 5 of the moving averages, this thing was in it. And rather than doing this cluster of 4, then dropping here, then maybe going back up, once it lost this, it pretty much went down, came horizontal to my support line, and it looks like it's about to drop. We're still a ways away from the death line, right? And one more time, I really care when all 3 are in the death line. I'll be honest, I don't have the Russell indice ticker, so I'll find that, I'll make a death line, and that'll kind of like make everything all harmonious. But right now on the 3 majors, the NASDAQ, the S&P, and the Dow Jones, I've had my death line established since June, okay? And you can go back and look at all of them, right? And I know you know I'm not here to try to impress you, right? We're a family, we're a team here, right? But once they're all under the red line, it's bad. And look, right now, there's a lot of reason to believe it's coming here, right? It's been pretty horizontal here. Once you lose this, you're coming here, assuming my lines are good, right? And I like to say my lines are good because once you lose all moving averages, that's really all you have left are these lines, right? So, yeah, this does not look good. At least we're still a ways away from death line. I'm going to say that one last time. But look, there's 1 day here, 1 day here, 1 day here. I guess you can kind of say these 2 as well, right? So we'll say 5 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Since, I'm not going to count all this, right? But it's at least a number of weeks. Every other one has been substantially less than the 50 moving average. Again, you need volume, okay? And it's not good to see this, but a lot of what I said was on the NASDAQ really does speak here, right? We fell out and it looks like the 20 and the 8 are about to start a new hard downtrend together. Real bad thing, right? Where are we on the weekly? Again, this 50 moving average on the weekly was pretty much the 200 equivalent on the daily, right? Just never was able to break either. Made a good run to it, definitely came down, right? And look, one nice interday wick. Sorry, I right-clicked on accident. One nice interday wick. But again, I'm not here for wicks, right? We care about candles. So yeah, just real sad to see. And again, right now, it makes the most sense that this is coming to the 200, right? And look, it happened here, and I'm zooming out because we're almost making a channel, right? We come down, we bounce to the top of here, we bounce to the bottom of here, We bounce to the same red top right here. We come here. The question is, will we hit the 200 and bounce up again? Or are we going to lose the 200 and start to come to the death line, right? If I zoom out, I'm not sure. Yeah, look, I've been looking at the death line, like I said, since about June, and this has never hit the death line, okay? There was, excuse me, a scary moment in October, but again, we don't care about wicks. We care about candles, right? So this is yet to do it, okay? So the fact that it at least is going to come. Look, I don't want to say at least, right? Because you know this is not financial advice. Nothing's guaranteed, blah, 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 right? But yeah, you lose moving averages, you move to the next one, right? You've seen enough of my videos to know that. So at one point, we were in the golden lines of trading. Now we're coming into the red line of death, right? So let's look at the monthly real quick. Okay, so look, we're not as deep on the 50, right? Because again, what we didn't like, sorry, my phone's making some noises. What we did not like about the NASDAQ, that's where I was about to go to, is we're under the 50. That's horrible, right? We're at least above it on the SP-500. But again, that's also the equivalent to the line, right? So once we lose that, you're pretty much falling into the death line. This one is at least, you know, it's under the 8 right now. Again, on the month, that's not good. One more month confirmation would pretty much put us right here, right? So a lot of reason to believe this is coming to that 36 number right there. That lines up to the 36 number right there, right? So yeah, a lot of reason to believe. There's, roughly speaking, a little less than 10%, but yeah, I mean, it's a little more than 200, right? Be careful. Yeah, 36. This is our number right here. So not looking too good. SPY, again, the ETF equivalent of the 500, looks pretty much the same. So let me bring it right here and let me do the same zooms that I do like to do. SPX is another way of getting to the 500. Again, almost mirror images, right? Obviously, the horizontals are a little different because I was tracking those differently, but yeah, we've lost the moving averages. That is not good. A lot of reason to believe we're coming down. We've lost, same thing, right? We bounced here, bounced here, bounced here. What's going to happen here? Are we going to hit this and bounce again? Or are we going to lose this and keep coming down, right? So I'm not going to repeat myself. It is the exact same thing from the other review. Again, not as close because we saw the same thing. So yeah. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at, again, I only have the ETF equivalent. I got to find the Russell itself, but man, look at this. At one moment, and I got it wrong. I talked about it on the last video I made. This 3-candle series messed me up because we break really well. Definitely get a doji, so I don't count this one yet. And obviously we close below it. You know I want to close above. Then boom, we actually close above, right? We get above this. I think what messed me up was we didn't get over this. I feel like if it closed right here, it would have been a different story, right? But like I said, this messed me up because I thought we were going to break the 200 and fly. Unfortunately, I got faked out hard, right? So it happens. I get things wrong. I try not to pretend it doesn't happen, right? I always try to highlight them. That is a really ugly weekly, right? Because what happened? Cluster loss, right? I talk about it all the time, and this looks like a bad loss. This is a doji, right? So next week's going to matter, and I'll be honest with you. I got a lot of reason to believe we're coming down to a $1.67, if not this $1.65. Man, ugly. Death cross happening right there. It should be happening next week. And then it looks like there's going to be another one not too far from it. But yeah, once you lose a horizontal, it gets ugly. You know that, right? So we'll look at the monthly real quick. Man, this one is right on the 50. Let's zoom out. Okay, the 50 was lost not too long ago. It's not as dramatic as the other one, right? But again, you don't want to lose the 50 because once you lose the 50, you're going to lose the 100. And I'll be honest with you, these two are close enough to where really, if we lose the 100, and again, we had moments where we lost it not that long ago, we're coming here. We're actually coming to the 110 range. So be real careful with the Russell. And look, we've reviewed 3 out of the 4 ETFs, 2 out of the 3 major markets. There has been 0 positivity in this entire video, right? So remember to take that with you as you go, right? The last one, again, this used to be the most the strongest, I don't even know what adjective, this was our carrier, right? Look at that. Just monster, 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 break the 200, monster, monster, monster. Almost get to my golden lines of trading, right? No, this is just too much. We start going down. Man, we cannot lose this 200, okay? Cannot lose the 200. Because again, if we lose the 200, the 100 is close enough to where I just sincerely believe we'll break through them both, right? It's not quite a cluster. We need to bounce on this 50. I'll be honest with you, right? Because if we can go bounce here, hey, hopefully that'll do something. But this is still our strongest one. We're still over the 200, but man, sorry about that. We need to at least bounce off the 50. We must bounce off the 200. Things will get really scary if we lose the 200 because we'll pretty much kind of parabolic back down, in my opinion, and at least come back to this line, right? This up should be followed by a down. That's just kind of how it works, right? This horizontal seems strong enough to catch it. So my thoughts there. Let's take, and again, I know you see it, right? It's peeking up a little bit. I really don't care about this. Look how tight that is, right? And again, I said it, 80% is up here, 20% is down here. This is an ugly MACD that for sure will supersede that little peak up there. Not a lot of volume. Hey, I'm glad there's been 3 out of 4 days more buying than selling, but none of those were over the 50 moving average, right? So I wish volume was up here. I wish we were closer to the 400 millions, right? But yeah, it just never did it. We got to 360, not quite enough, right? And we've seen it. Lines lost by pennies, volumes missed by millions, right? So again, it seems big, but I promise you they're both, it's just cracking the lines, right? That's all we're really looking at. So coming to the weekly, look, this is a cluster of 2, right? And it's kind of the same thing I was saying on the other ones. I know I always say when there's 2 together, it's really hard to break. It was able to break them both because there was enough distance to like not really make it a cluster. And look, those little finite little details, I've been doing this for a while, right? So I know some stuff kind of sounds contradictory at times, but hey, if anything doesn't make sense, you know you can always ask in the comments and I'll try to reply real quick, right? But yeah, broke through the cluster of 2, try to make a good run. Now looks like it's about to lose that cluster of 2, right? The 2 again being the 100 and the 50. But hey, if we can bounce right here, that could be really nice. Otherwise, look, if we lose the 50, we're going to come to the 20. Hopefully this 20 saves it. If we lose the 20, we're coming down here. Still a ways away from the death line, right? So I would actually say this is almost S&P 500. No, actually S&P 500 is a lot close. So look, let's do it like this. NASDAQ, under it. Okay, we're looking on the weekly. Doesn't matter. You're obviously under it on the daily too. NASDAQ completely under it. SP-500, close to it, right? We're not that far. And then DJ30, Dow Jones Industrial, the furthest from it, right? Once all 3 are under, we get scared. And again, what we were looking previously was for all of them to get over the 200, right? This one, so sorry, let me go on the daily and show the same equivalent. This got over the 200, right? SP-500. This came close, kind of got up right here, right? And then NASDAQ. This never even got close, right? Couldn't even get over the 100, let alone get close to the 200, right? So again, that's what we're watching. We wanted all of them to get over the 200. I'm going to call that a bull market. I'm going to put 100% of my money in the market. I'm going to put my money, leave it overnight, go to bed, wake up, and feel a lot more confident. Right now, I'm really only trading a significantly low fraction of my money. I'm rarely holding things overnight unless unless it looks like there's a little bit of good coming on the major markets or the indices that or the ticker that I'm looking at just really looks good, right? But yeah, it's scary right now. And across this video, it seems like it's legit gonna get worse. I know a lot of 401ks have lost 20% already and all that. I'm telling you, you can lose another 20% still. That's sincerely what it looks like. So be aware of your trading strategy. Be aware of the situation around you. You know I'm not here to try to scare you, right? But this is what I see. Man, I've missed making these videos, so I'm going to do my best to come back to daily. Have a great one.